Hello, I'm Captain Art from Sportfishing, and today we're going to talk about drag settings. Drag settings is one of the most important things that you can do to make your trip successful. There are three basic things that can happen with improper drag settings. The first thing is that your drag setting can be too tight, and so the line breaks. The second and third thing are examples of drag settings that are too loose, which make it difficult to land the fish. And those are the two things that we're going to concentrate on. If your drag setting is set too loose, the first thing that happens is that you don't get a proper hook set on the fish. And so after a short period of time, you will lose your fish because the hook didn't get set correctly because your drag was too loose. The third thing is, with a drag setting that is too loose, you end up spending more time on the fish than is necessary, and maybe you end up in one additional tangle that you didn't need to be in, and the longer you have the fish on, the bigger the hole the hook makes, and so you can lose your fish because your drag was set too loose. Now I'm going to do a short demonstration on a tip from us that will show you that your drag is too loose. And I'm going to use this rod and reel. This is a Shimano 20A 2-speed, and it has 50-pound test on it. And regardless of the line class that you have to have the proper drag setting. Once you get a fish on, when you go to fight the fish, I'm going to turn the rod and reel upside down so that you can see for demonstration purposes. When you raise the rod and line goes off the spool, hopefully you can see that, then your drag is too loose, because what happens is you raise the rod and 3 feet of line went off of the spool, and when you wind back down to the fish, you retrieve the same 3 feet of line. When you raise the rod, 3 feet of line went off the spool, and then you wind down to the fish, and the same 3 feet of line just returned to the spool. So if your fish is at 100 feet deep, when you raise the rod, 3 feet of line goes off the spool, 3 feet of line, the same 3 feet of line comes back on the spool. So your fish stays at the same depth. So you want to have the drag set correctly so that line does not come off of your spool when you raise the rod. That way, every time you wind in, the fish goes to 97 feet, and then 94 feet, and then 91 feet, and then eventually you bring it up to color and to gaff, and we put it on the boat for you, and you get to use one of your tags. That's a helpful tip from Sportfishing.